You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Here's something that will blow your mind. Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has just pulled the ultimate disappearing act. Can you believe it? A few days ago, she was standing defiantly at a town hall meeting, wagging her finger at everyone and ranting about being persecuted. She even had the nerve to declare that all the allegations against her were baseless. And now, just like that, poof, she's gone. But here's the kicker. It looks like she didn't just leave, she fled the country, folks. That's right, this so-called super mayor has reportedly crossed the border and is now completely off the radar. And if the rumors swirling around are to be believed, she didn't leave empty-handed. No. She's suspected of taking a fat stack of cash with her, money she allegedly laundered through her charity before the feds could seize it. Scandalous doesn't even begin to cover this.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
So how did this all go down? Well, let's start from the top. Tiffany Henyard has been under the microscope for months now, facing a slew of accusations ranging from corruption and theft to downright violence against her employees. Her tenure as mayor and Thornton Township supervisor has been one controversy after another, but things reached a boiling point recently when it became apparent that federal authorities were closing in on her. And let's be real, this escape isn't some spontaneous, spur-of-the-moment thing. It's clear she was tipped off, probably by someone inside who knew the feds were about to slap her with an arrest warrant. How else could she have orchestrated such a seamless getaway?
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard, but we only knew half the story.
But hold on, it gets even juicier. Word on the street is that Tiffany planned her escape during what was supposed to be a routine business trip to another state. She used that opportunity to slip out of the country, likely flying under the radar while everyone's eyes were focused on her back home. The shocking part is that despite all the red flags, it seems like the federal authorities didn't take any preemptive measures to prevent this from happening. How could they let a high-profile figure like Tiffany, who was clearly under serious scrutiny, just walk away? It's almost as if they were asleep at the wheel, giving her the perfect window to make her escape.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
Now, if you're thinking this sounds like something straight out of a crime thriller, you're not wrong. Let's dive deeper into what might have pushed Tiffany to take such a drastic step. First off, the rumors about an impending arrest warrant are pretty credible. Insiders have hinted that the feds were getting ready to make a move next week, and Tiffany must have caught wind of it. Can you imagine the panic that must have set in? 1 minute, she's playing the role of the indignant public servant, denying everything with a straight face, and the next, she's scrambling to get out of Dodge before the cuffs come out.
Several new developments in South suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
There's also speculation that her charity fund, which was supposed to be doing all this good work, was actually being used as her personal piggy bank. When the authorities started sniffing around, she knew the jig was up. But instead of waiting around to see how it all played out, she took matters into her own hands literally. They say she funneled a large amount of money through this charity right before it was seized, essentially laundering the funds so she could take them with her. It's like she was planning her escape for months, setting things up just in case she needed to make a quick exit. And guess what? It worked.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
But why didn't the feds see this coming? Why didn't they freeze her assets sooner or put her on a no-fly list? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There are plenty of theories out there, one of which is that someone on the inside may have been helping her. Maybe it was someone who owed her a favor, or maybe it was just pure incompetence on the part of the authorities. Either way, it's clear that Tiffany outsmarted everyone, and now she's living it up somewhere far away, probably sipping cocktails on a beach, while the rest of us are left picking up the pieces.
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
And this isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen. There's a long history of public officials who found themselves in hot water and decided to skip town before the law could catch up with them. Or how about J-Ho Low, the financier behind the 1MDB scandal, who's been on the run for years now. Tiffany's move is straight out of that playbook. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Far, far away.
Wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
So what's next for Tiffany? That's anyone's guess. If she's smart, she'll lay low for a while, maybe even change her identity to avoid detection. There's also the possibility that she's already working on a new scheme, setting herself up in a country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with the US. She's shown she's capable of planning ahead, so it wouldn't be surprising if she's got everything mapped out already. And let's not forget, she's got money, lots of it, so she's not exactly going to be struggling to survive out there.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
But let's circle back to why Tiffany is in this mess in the first place. She's not just any politician who made a few bad choices. She's been accused of some serious stuff, and the street of allegations against her is staggering. We're talking about everything from blatant corruption and mismanagement of funds to using violence against her employees. Yes, you heard that right. There are reports that she didn't just verbally abuse her staff, she actually got physical with them on more than one occasion. And then there's the issue of how she practically privatized the local police force, using them to carry out her personal vendettas. It's like she turned Dolton into her own personal fiefdom, ruling with an iron fist and silencing anyone who dared to oppose her. One of the most damning accusations is how she handled public funds. Under her watch, millions of dollars that were supposed to be used for community projects and services mysteriously disappeared. There are records showing extravagant spending on luxury trips, high-end hotels, and fine dining, all on the taxpayer's dime. In one instance, it was reported that she spent over $40,000 in a single day on Amazon. And when people started asking questions, she either stonewalled them or lashed out, accusing everyone of being against her. It's no wonder that the town's finances are in shambles now, with a deficit of millions of dollars that no one can account for.
I do not handle anything as relates with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
But it wasn't just about the money. Tiffany was also accused of using her position to manipulate and intimidate those around her. Former employees have come forward to say that she created a toxic work environment where dissent was not tolerated. If you didn't toe the line, you were either bullied into submission or fired. And when it came to law enforcement, she allegedly had her cronies in the police force target her critics, using them to carry out raids and arrests that had nothing to do with actual crime and everything to do with silencing opposition. It's like something out of a movie, except this was real life.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
And let's not forget the charity that she used as a front for her shady dealings. On paper, it was supposed to be helping cancer patients and doing all this great work in the community. But in reality, it was just a way for Tiffany to funnel money into her own pockets. The charity's financial records were a mess, and there was little to no transparency about where the donations were actually going. When the feds finally started looking into it, they found all sorts of discrepancies, and that's when they knew they had her. But by then, it was too late. Tiffany had already made her move and disappeared.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
It's honestly mind-boggling to think about how much damage she's done to the town of Dolton. What was once a struggling but hopeful community has been left in ruins by her actions. The town is now millions of dollars in debt, services have been cut, and the people are left wondering how they let this happen. And the worst part, she might just get away with it. As long as she stays out of the country, it's going to be incredibly difficult for the authorities to bring her to justice. She's played her cards perfectly, and now she's sitting pretty while everyone else is left to deal with the fallout.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
In the end, Tiffany Henyard's story is a cautionary tale about power, greed, and corruption. She came into office with big promises and an even bigger ego, and for a while it seemed like she could do no wrong. But as we've seen time and time again, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Tiffany got drunk on power, and in the end, it was her downfall. Or was it? Because let's face it, if she's managed to escape the law and start a new life somewhere else, she's technically won. And that's a bitter pill to swallow for the people she's left behind. So where does this leave us? Well, the authorities are still scrambling to figure out their next move. They'll probably issue an international arrest warrant, but who knows if that will actually lead to anything. Meanwhile, the people of Dolton are left picking up the pieces, trying to rebuild after everything that's happened. And Tiffany, she's probably already plotting her next move, laughing at the fact that she managed to outsmart everyone and get away scot-free. For now, all we can do is watch and wait, because if there's one thing we've learned from this whole mess, it's that Tiffany Henyard is full of surprises. And you know what? Something tells us we have not heard the last of her just yet. And there you have it, folks. Tiffany Henyard's dramatic escape has left everyone in shock. But what do you think? Is this a well-planned getaway by a cunning mastermind, or did she have some inside help to slip away unnoticed? And should the authorities have done more to prevent her from fleeing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear what you have to say. Until next time, stay curious and stay tuned.